Hello and welcome to gusmcdollgames. My name is Nick McDowell and today we are playing the NATO campaign in Naval War Arctic Circle with the second mission, Barents Escort. Naval War Arctic Circle is based on a hypothetical Great Arctic War set in 2030 and fought in the North Atlantic, Arctic, Baltic and the North Sea. The NATO campaign covers the Great Arctic War as experienced from the Northern Partnership and NATO alliances. In this episode, Barents Escort, enemy surface forces make a push in the north. Each mission starts with a news article to give us some context. The Daily Global Courant, Monday 8 July 2030. Norwegians seize Russian oil tanker. Russians claim seizure is breach of international law. Norwegian warships Wednesday seized a Russian-operated oil tanker with a crew of 26 that had been on its way to China, a spokesperson for the Norwegian government says. Please pause the video if you'd like to read the full article, and while you're doing so, don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more great content. And we start the game. Barents Escort. Description: securing the unsafe oil tanker has provoked enemy surface forces to press forward along the northern coast. The enemy advance must be halted. Expect enemy submarine threats. Our objective is to destroy at least 2 surface combatants. Do not lose 2 or more of your surface ships. And you can see our objectives in the top right hand corner of the screen. And we'll check out Alanya Air Bases here. Seems to be and we have Bannock Air Station again, similar to the previous episode. Its Sentinel radar is on, and these are the aircraft that are deployed. We'll take 2 F-35A Lightnings and launch them in a patrol pattern to the east of our ships. We have a Lockheed Orion in an anti-submarine warfare profile, flying away from the scene of the action, and we'll get it moving towards where we're going, towards our surface vessels. And okay, the first of which is the Skjold, and we also have an Ula submarine. This is the Ula. Okay. Looks very good. Okay, it's going at a crawl, 10 kilometers an hour, and it has a Kelvin Hughes surface search radar and an Atlas sonar. So CSU 83 with a 4 nautical mile range. We won't activate that at this stage, or maybe we will. We'll activate that because we need some kind of a sensor activity from this submarine. Okay. Moving now to the Fridtjof Nansen class frigate. We'll get that moving towards our Skjolds. Activate its AN SPY-1F radar, 260 nautical mile range. In fact, we'll keep that off for now. Spherion sonar, the MRS 2000 sonar. We'll activate that, and there's a cap test Mark II V1. In fact, deactivate the active sonar and simply deploy the towed array sonar so that it gets passive detections from that. So we'll just control our emissions a little bit here. So we'll keep our radar turned off, keep our active sonar turned off, but leave our towed sonar on. Back to Bannock Air Station. Okay, we have an incoming missile, so we'll close that. What are we doing here? So okay, it's too far to engage, and this is but we'll get it to close and engage with that missile. May as well turn on the radar now that we've already been engaged and see if we can pick up what fired that. Going back to Bannock Air Station, the Dassault Falcon. We will launch that very high. That gives us an electronic warfare capability such as jamming. And go back to the Skjold. And it has an Otobreda 76mm, which is our most effective defense against this. We'll turn on its radar to improve our detection of the incoming missiles and any others. The second vessel up here, the Storm, which is the second vessel in the Skjold class. We'll get that moving away from the missiles at fairly good speed. Looking at the Ula, we'll get it moving into the target area, but it's at slow speed, so it's probably not going to be that effective. Now coming at us, we have the Zvezda KH-35U AS-20 kayak missiles. And these missiles are also known as the SSN-25 Switchblade. So it looks at this stage to be a single missile inbound. But I would imagine there's probably been more than one launched, or there will be more than one launched. It's been detected by our aircraft. And luckily for us it's a subsonic missile, so we've got a bit of time. So we'll get these F-35s moved up to afterburner speed to try and close and engage with this target as quickly as possible. So we can hopefully interdict the missile before it hits our ships. Okay, we've got another missile detection, so we'll fire now. The first set of missiles is within AMRAAM range, so we'll engage them. We've got 16 AMRAAMs on these two aircraft, so we'll fire another missile. We want to make sure that the first one doesn't achieve the mission kill that the second one does, and we're engaging the second group of missiles as well that have just come into AMRAAM range. And again, hitting them with 2 missiles each in the first instance. We'll see how those go. And those missiles are both tracking in towards the Skjold. Okay, we'll get the F-35s tracking towards the missiles. Bring them back down now to slightly slower speed. And that just preserves our endurance, because we might want them up there for a while, interdicting missiles. So here's the Skjold. We've got Oterbreda 76mm gun. We've got Kongsberg NSMs. If we detect the surface vessel that launched those missiles at us, we can then respond. And the radar is on. The missiles are tracking towards. The Skjold is, or otherwise known as Shield, is a light stealth missile corvette. It was previously designated as a motor torpedo boat, but it doesn't actually carry any torpedoes, so it was then redesignated as a stealth missile corvette. There are 6 in the class, and this one's the P960 Skjold, and the other's P961. The Storm is modelled in this game as well, or in this particular mission. It has a maximum speed of about 60 knots or 110 kilometres an hour, so at the moment only doing 42 k's. We've got the AMRAAMs now coming in on the Switchblade, on Zvezda, and the first AMRAAMs have missed. They've failed to knock down the missile. It's almost within Oterbreda range, but I think we'll go back to the F-35s, make sure they are launching against this first missile group. Okay, the second missile group's knocked down, but we can see now there's a third missile group of the kayak missiles inbound. And we'll launch against them as well. Okay, now we're within Oterbreda range. The 76mm gun can now start to engage the missiles as well. Okay, and you can see the shots flying out. Although I think the gun's oriented the wrong way. It is actually firing to the east. Okay, the Mistrals have a short range, but we can use them as well. Okay, and we're hoping at this stage that yep, we want to keep engaging those missiles, and we're hoping the AMRAAMs can knock it down before it hits our ship. Mistral missiles are also an option, but they're very, very short range. Okay, AMRAAMs are coming in. Fingers crossed. And there we go. We've got both the first and the third groups of missiles have now been taken out, which is something of a relief. Okay, so we'll get our F-35s continuing to track towards the area, see if they can identify the surface vessels that were firing on us. And we've also got the Talus radar from the Skjold is active as well. Oh no, okay, we've got the Orion. Will increase its altitude, see if it can improve its radar coverage and activate its sensor there, its radar. And we've got another missile group coming in, so we're going to... Okay, we're firing on that latest missile group as well. So this is the fourth salvo of missiles, or the fourth missile that's been fired. And we'll get we'll get another pair of F-35s in the air. We'll put them in a patrol pattern slightly to the south of the engagement area, and it's another 51 minutes until the next F-35s are available. So the F-35s that we've launched and have in the air really have to provide us coverage for essentially the remainder of the mission. Okay, and it looks like along the way we've lost our Skjold, and it's probable that we've lost it to a missile we didn't detect. Okay. So we now have another missile. Okay, we've got 3 missiles, SSN-27s. So we'll target them with the F-35s. And there's our range of our ESSMs from the Fridtjof Nansen. The Ula has some torpedoes with very short range, so it's unlikely it's going to get within fighting distance of whatever's launching on us. And therefore it's not going to be part of the fight. We've got 1 AMRAAM left, which we'll fire from the F-35s. But in the meantime, what we can do is increase their speed and get them pointed in the general direction of whatever seems to be firing at us. Okay, we'll increase their altitude. We'll also get their radar turned on, and hopefully this will give us a detection at some point. And there we go. We've got 2 small surface contacts detected immediately. Okay, so we fire our Kongsberg NSMs at the first. Okay, we've also got a fixed-wing aircraft contact, helicopter contact, and a medium-sized surface contact up on the left. So we'll fire another Kongsberg. We've got 8 of them on the Storm at our targets here. So the Storm, as I said, is the second in the Shield class of light stealth missile corvettes. It's the P961. And it's engaging here with its 8 Kongsberg missiles, and with that range it's probably best firing them at these small surface vessels, and knocking these out will help us to achieve our objectives. And having fired its 8, it's time to get out of there. You can see it's now sped up to 83 kilometers an hour, slightly short of its top speed. The Ula again is probably not going to be very effective in this fight because it's outranged. We've got Kongsbergs here, but they're out of range of anything on the Fridtjof Nansen. So at this point it's not going to really help in the surface fight. We've got an Su-27 flanker. Here's our Dassault Falcon with a radar jamming pod, and we'll try and get it to jam in this area. So we're jamming the adversary's vessel's detection capabilities. Yep, so the jamming pod and 54 nautical mile range, so we'll place that there. Or maybe around the... Okay, a medium surface contact we've detected but not yet identified. Probably a warship, as indicated by the presence of the helicopters. Okay, that incoming missiles within... The 2 incoming missiles within range of the Autobrader 76, so we'll engage with them. And we can see it now starting to engage. Okay, the Fridtjof Nansen. And back to... Yep. Keep engaging. These are the 54E Club missiles, or their SSN-27s inbound. And obviously we want to destroy these before they can impact the Fridtjof Nansen frigate. So continuing to order the Autobrader to engage. You can see it's firing, but so far having no effect on these incoming missiles. Okay, they're the F-35s, so down to their sidewinders. We have, but we'll get them to close and engage with the Su-27. And you can see the terrain modelled there in the background. Back to the Storm, continue to get it to try and engage these incoming missiles within the range of its Otobrader 76mm. We'll check the missiles are almost within range of the enhanced Sea Sparrow missiles on the Fridtjof Nansen. So as soon as it is, we will engage with them at the maximum range. Crossing the threshold. And engage. Now it looks like the Otobraders were partially successful and have knocked out one of the incoming missiles, and we've only got one missile remaining. And that's the launch there of the ESSMs. And they're closing in on the missile. And missed. First one missed. Second one hit, but there's a missile still inbound. And third missile is acquiring. We'll hold off firing anymore until we see the results of this. And yep, we've hit it. So we're now no longer under an immediate threat from missiles. We've got our Kongsbergs still inbound on the enemy ships, the Project 206 MR Vic, and this is the Project 206 MR Vic. It's a hydrofoil missile boat, although it doesn't look like a hydrofoil at this point. It's got a top speed of about 42 knots or 78 kilometers an hour, and this particular class is known, its NATO designation is the Matka, and not to be confused with the Sherschen, which is also confusingly a Project 206 class vessel. So it's shipping 8 SSN-25 Switchblade missiles. That's the Zvezda KH-35 Uran, and that's a subsonic cruise anti-ship missile. You can see in the front it has a 76mm gun, and in the rear has an AK-630 30mm close-in weapon system. So this is the Project 206. Meanwhile, we have the Su-27, the flanker, the 27SM, Flanker B, and whilst it doesn't show what it's tracking here, it does have 10 hard points for various kinds of munitions, and including the Orion and the Su-27 in SM in this particular mission may well be a nod by the developers to an incident on the 13th of September 1987 where there was an incident between an Su-27 and a Norwegian Orion operating in the Barents Sea, in which the two aircraft collided, and Su-27 was doing close passes of the ship and actually collided with the aircraft, but both made it safely back. So our F-35s are going to engage with that Su-27, give it something to think about, something to respond to, so that it doesn't engage on our F-35s that are closer to it and only have the short-range Sidewinder missiles. So we can see here the Su-27 is now turning tail. Still out of Sidewinder range, so we'll get it retreating from the AMRAAMs, and once it's within range we'll attack it with the Sidewinders. You can see there's additional aircraft coming in from the southeast as well, but our Kongsberg seem to be heading towards the enemy vessels at speed. So we get the Su-27, we're driving that away. We've still got some incoming air threats to the southeast. And okay, so our medium surface contact here, we still haven't been able to identify it. Odds on it's a naval aircraft, and the indicator for that of course is the helicopter you can see here, which we've also detected but not identified. And that's most likely in an anti-submarine warfare profile launch from the surface contact. So back to the Project 206 MR, the first of the enemy surface vessels that we're engaging. We've got a fair few missiles, Kongsberg anti-shipping missiles aimed at it, and the first of those is likely to make contact fairly shortly. We'll see if it starts to defend itself. And no, it's destroyed. So the Project 206 there is destroyed. And you can see the Kongsberg naval strike missiles, the ones that didn't impact obviously, have now automatically retargeted onto the remaining 206 MR. So it now has quite a few Kongsbergs aimed at this missile boat. You can see a small missile boat like this has got quite a bit of lethality, as we saw from its ability to engage us. And there we go. It's trying to shoot down some of the incoming missiles, and it was able to engage us with the switchblades, the SSN-25s. And it's damaged, but not destroyed. So by the incoming Kongsbergs, and it appears to have halted in place. But we still have a number of Kongsberg missiles inbound on the Project 206. And if we successfully engage this will satisfy our objectives and bring this mission to a close. So Project 206 appears to have been almost halted. It's down to 5 kilometers an hour. And it's almost destroyed. And the Kongsberg's almost in, and it's destroyed now. Then we've met our objectives, and we've destroyed 1 aircraft and 2 surface ships for the loss of 1 surface ship on our side. As always, thanks for watching. For more Naval War Arctic Circle content, check out the NATO campaign and Jersey blockade playlists on our channel. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe and donate, and stay tuned for the next episode.